Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. It is Tuesday, September 3, 2024. This is the Agree to Disagree show on the new American media because the old American media has failed you. Yes, you know that. You know the old American media failed you. Blake, when did you realize the old American media failed you? When did it click for you? When did you figure that out?
Probably early 2000s. Actually, it's probably going back to the 90s, actually. It really goes pretty far back. I kind of pretty much was at the realization in the 90s that, JFK assassination, Oklahoma City bombing, UFOs. Like, I just felt like there was definitely, like, it was in their business to keep things from the public, and the media was covering it up. It got a lot worse in the 2000s with the Bush administration and the new endless war on terror and the Patriot Act. I was pretty disgusted with that. And then it got even worse under Obama. And then it was the media flipping sides from Fox being the enemy, Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity and those liars and the wars on, the Afghanistan and Iraq and WMDs, just the filthy Fox awful. But then it was all of a sudden it was everybody going all in for to prop up Obama. And then finally, after like maybe 2013, Fox started to kind of come around and kind of change their tune. And a few of them got on board with Trump in 2016 and all that. So it's gotten better. But yeah, the CNN is like a shadow of its former self. Things have changed.
But then Fox changed too. Fox changed as well. Remember, Fox had Chris Wallace out there repeating the fine people hoax in the 2020.
Everybody drink. Okay, no, good. Yeah, I know.
Yes, drink every time.
Brian brings up the, but that's a huge deal.
It's perhaps the most destructive, divisive, racist, and incomplete, inaccurate, intentionally deceptive hit job I've ever seen in political theater. It's to say that guy is praising neo-Nazis. All you're doing is putting a crosshair on him. You're going, that is a pure evil person. You need to get rid of that. And of course, that's what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago. It's only been like a month and a half, Blake. It hasn't been 2 months. It feels like it's 20 years ago, and we're never talking about it. If somebody took a shot at Biden's ear or Kamala's ear or Obama's ear, do you think we would ever stop hearing about it? There was a mostly peaceful protest at the Capitol building where no shot was fired, and we heard about that for 4 fucking years in a row. Like it was the biggest story ever. The only person that died that day was when Ashley Babbitt was shot. The unarmed veteran mother was shot in the neck by a dude going like this right around the corner.
Right.
We heard about that for 4 years, but if one of their candidates got shot, we would never hear the end of it. So once again, I just want to put out there, like I do for the past several weeks, maybe since Trump's assassination, I would like to offer a legitimate, sincere prayer to both the Harris and Trump campaigns for continued safety through the end of this election season that hopefully culminates in a Trump landslide victory. Because I'm very concerned, Blake. I'm very concerned something can be attempted again, and I'm worried that Kamala could be martyred in order to pin it on MAGA and just shut everything down and make a whole bunch of accusations, lose your freedoms and liberties online, suspend an election. Like, there's all sorts of awful stuff that could happen. So continued prayers for peace there. But I mean, just imagine, Blake, if one of theirs took a shot. Do you think the coverage would be different today? Month and a half later?
Yeah, 100%. And just going even back to that Fox thing, they got rid of Lou Dobbs and Tucker Carlson for exposing a lot of the problems. So yeah, the media is still all controlled. And yes, it's not only that, it's also, imagine if the Hunter Biden laptop was Don Jr.'s laptop. We'd still never hear the end of that. Trump would never even be eligible. So it's amazing how much they cover for their people and just smear one side of things.
Absolutely. All right. What I want to do is start off. Hang on. How do I take this off the screen now? Everything changed. How do I? Oh, okay. Let me get rid of that for now. Okay, perfect. Well, this is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media. That's Blake Wally. I'm Brian Engelman. Follow Blake. He's at TV's Blake Wally. and thenextlevelnews.com. Check out his archive over there. Also, follow the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show on every single platform, especially X at American_media_ and Rumble. Just go to the New American Media. We're ready to hit a nice milestone over there. And the YouTube channel has 1,500 plus videos and 13 years of content. Just search the New American Media there. All right, real quick, I want to talk about the stories that we're going to cover. But the title of the show is Kamala Ignores and Biden Beaches. Kamala ignores and Biden beaches while America crumbles. Yeah, it's a lot going on there, but Kamala Harris, she's dodging the invitations from this administration. Let me say that, because Biden's on the beach. Who's really running the country? It's the biggest cluster you've ever seen. But Kamala is being asked, Tim Walz is being asked to participate with Gold Star families. She's ignoring them. The White House, Biden, Walz, they're ignoring them. Walz is asked a question directly. He walks away from it. Kamala is now wearing headphones, ignoring things. We'll get to it in a second, but that's the level of disrespect and the level of fear that they show. They don't think that they can compete. They can't sit down and talk to anybody for 2 hours at a time like Trump can. They're just hoping they're going to be able to do the Biden strategy of hide in the basement and just somehow pull off a victory, even though every poll that's being put out there shows about 68 to 78% of the people are siding with the MAGA movement. These polls that are showing you 49, 51, bullshit. There's not a universe where that's remotely viable, theoretical, in my opinion. It is about 75%. Maybe call it 60%, 65, easy. But the world we find ourselves in is devoid of leadership at the moment. And that is why it is the top story. We're definitely going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the thumbnail picture today that is migrant gang housing takeovers. What's being covered up by Democrat voters. Definitely have to talk about that. Got to talk about the SAVE Act. That might shut the government down, of course. Also, is Kamala using fake accents because her voters are stupid? Do you agree or disagree with that? Do you agree or disagree that Democrats are hiding Kamala's policies until after the election? Kind of seems that way. Also, agree or disagree that Russia would prefer Kamala winning over Trump? All right, we'll talk about that one. Also, agree or disagree, the real totalitarians are the Western countries, not Russia. Oh, are we ready for that talk? Are we ready for that? Do we agree or disagree there? Also, we saw Zuckerberg come out this past week saying, well, you know, look, I'm all in favor of a national apology project. So if Zuckerberg wants to turn over and start, turn a new leaf, we're not going to trust you, but we'll give you a shot. Prove it with your words. We need reparations for all the content creators that you silenced. And we need to find a way to make sure that our country's never taken over the way that you did in 2020. He was out there. Zuckerberg was saying that, I didn't realize that the donation dollars were going to exclusively fund hard left Democrat organizations to perhaps alter the election. So we're going to ask if you agree or disagree that Facebook censorship dramatically altered the 2020 election. Also, something coming up. The NFL, should they reschedule their Friday game out of Brazil? I'm excited to talk about this one for 3 reasons. One, because football's here. I'm so excited. It's just I could smell fall in the air this morning. It was chilly. I had to put like a little jacket thing on. I was like, all right, fall's here. Football's back. I love this turning of the season. But yesterday I did a show with Bob France. He's been a broadcaster for a very long time, and he worked with Cleveland sports teams. But you may have seen his interview with Hulk Hogan recently, or with Donald Trump recently, or essentially ending the career of Anthony Gonzalez, former Ohio State Buckeye, who turned on Trump. Bob did a great interview with him, but he and I talked about sports yesterday. We got into a lot in the first part of the program, so please check out that show with Bob France, Frantz. And then tomorrow we're going to be talking with John Telich. I lost track at 11 Emmy Awards. He has at least 11 Emmy Awards for excellence in broadcasting. He retired recently, maybe a year or two ago, and he used to be a regular on the Unhappy Hour sports show. That is the other entity that I work on. And it kind of, it springs to life like a flower in the garden when it's when it's football season. So the unhappy hour is coming back, and John Telich is going to join me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Triple checking that time. It is 6 to 7. There we go. 6 to 7 tomorrow. And we're going to take your questions live. If you have any, we're going to do a Cleveland Browns preview show. And we're going to talk about probably some Guardians as they head into the playoffs. Maybe a little Buckeyes as well. Finally, Blake, I don't know if I told you about this one. You know how I keep bugging Mike Barra? I'm bugging Barra. I'm like, he does a Seahawks show. I do a Browns show. Why don't we do a football show where it's like about the league and fantasy and just fantasy football and stuff like that? We're going to do that. Blake, what are you doing on Thursday? You doing anything on Thursday? Because we're going to try to do strictly football with Mike Barra and Brian Engelman and maybe Blake Wally and maybe a whole cast of characters. We haven't really figured out much of anything other than let's do a show and just talk about football. Not just your favorite team and not just my favorite team. The entire league and how my team connects to it and just kind of the big storylines, the big fantasy for performers week to week. Maybe some gambling bets, some, hey, you might want to take the over on this game, the stuff people like to talk about during football season. So that is set to be Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, Blake. I don't know what Blake is doing on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
That's awesome. In years past, I definitely would have. I might pop in once in a while or something. I don't think I could be a regular contributor. I don't think that'd be fair. I am a big football fan. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I used to really be into fantasy football. I love scouting reports and analytics and power rankings and all that stuff. I know a fraction of what I used to know in years past because I used to do 5 or 6 fantasy football teams, and I would know every player and backup player, and so I could speak for, at volume about that stuff, but not so much outside of, my own Minnesota Vikings and a little bit. And I'm not, super excited about the season. I am excited for football season, but my expectations aren't very high for the Vikings this year. So I think I'm taking not a year off, but I'm going to wait till the Vikings are really good again or have a little bit more hope for the season. And then I could probably participate more. But best of luck, and maybe I'll pop in here or there or whatever.
Yeah,
so, very exciting.
Yeah, I've been bugging Mike about it. I keep thinking about because he doesn't know me very well. We don't know each other all that well. You do a show with him all the damn time. But it's just like, I know you're a Seahawks super fan. The one thing he knows about me better than anything else, other than I'd like to talk.
Everybody knows, Brian. You can't spend 5 minutes with you without knowing that you're a diehard Cleveland sports nut. I'm actually surprised Brian is not wearing a Browns shirt or something today, which is unusual. Or is he? I just can't see it.
No, I don't. I have
I got a Browns cup and a Browns hat.
I have an autograph.
Are you selling that? No. You don't sell Browns stuff, do you?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. I figured you'd.
It's the easiest stuff to collect, and I have so much of it. It's like I have to go through it. So it's nice to sit out, but as long as it's listed for sale, eventually I'll pack it up and move it to someone. And it's stuff that I like to hold on to, and it's stuff that's cycling.
Do people buy hats that are used, and I've got
this is Tim. This is an autographed Tim Couch hat.
Right. What's that?
This is a Tim Couch autographed hat.
Oh, okay.
Protective
so
plastic.
It's not worn. It's not like you've worn it to the bar 100 times, and it's.
But by the way, I do sell used hats.
All right.
I do sell used hats, and there's good money to be made on selling.
Oh yeah. I just figured maybe the brown stuff you would keep, but anyway.
Yeah, imagine how much of it I have when it comes to keeping stuff. It's like I need to get rid of things, keep my 10% of the favorite stuff. And I think
Brian is basically American Pickers. All right.
Yeah, I run a reselling business. It's what I like to do. It's what I was raised to do. It's what I'm good at doing. I just need to scale it. I just need to do 10 times as much. And major successes in the garage the past couple of days. Getting the yard in check for the fall, getting the garden set up to really harvest as much as possible, and getting the reselling stations organized. It's been a fantastic couple of days, actually. But yeah, So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys join us live. We'll broadcast through Mike's, through the New American Medias, and if Blake's here, through Blake's. Who knows? We're just going to talk about some football because it's back, baby. And I'm super excited to kind of bring out the unhappy hour again. It lives on the Facebook group nonstop. It's a great 2,000 something person private group. Look for it. The unhappy hour sports. Okay, Blake, we have a bunch of stories to get through. And before we do, I'm going to do this that is super fast. I want to get your thoughts. There's so much breaking that didn't even make it into the stack. Do you have any thoughts on the hostages that were executed over in Israel, over in Gaza? That's a big story that's developing. Getting messages from Biden's account, whoever's tweeting that. That's not him at the beach. But there was an American that was killed over there. It just doesn't seem like this administration is doing enough to stop this. You have any thoughts on that breaking news over the weekend?
I honestly haven't dug into it too much. I know it's one of those really toxic, divisive issues that I, avoid a little bit. I'm surprised to see you retweeting Mehdi Hassan, who's a super hack flack lackey, MSNBC. But yeah, interesting to see. There's a hostage negotiation team. Okay, I know that there was hostages. I know it's a terrible situation. So, what is your what do you think, Brian? You're obviously a little bit more involved.
Yeah, I just can't help but think how different this would be if Trump were actively engaged on this situation, talking about it every single day. You keep those running counts, the little tickers at the bottom of the screen. There are Americans being held hostage over there. Where is the hard line? It was like Jimmy Carter was getting abused by the terrorist groups, and Reagan came in and shut that shit down instantly. He wasn't tolerating any of it. And it would just be such a drastic difference in the absence of leadership, with Biden at the beach and Kamala hiding from everything, as opposed to Trump. When he was there, the shit was peaceful. As soon as daddy goes away for a couple of days for work, the kids start acting up. They start acting like assholes again. So just on a grander scale, I can't help but think how different all of this would have been, and maybe it wouldn't have even happened. So it's just something to keep your eyes peeled on, because they were recently executed too. They were almost freed, and instead of getting freed, they got popped once in the back of the head. And it's just it's out. If it doesn't boil your blood, I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'd like to see all the leaders of Hamas rounded up, and as well as the Netanyahu regime. He's not exactly doing anybody any favors either. So he doesn't seem like he wants this resolved easily. So I'm just as skeptical on both sides in the leadership, and I feel bad for the innocent people caught in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I think Bibi's point of view, I don't want to speak for him, and I don't want to put words in his mouth or mischaracterize it, but it seems as if he said, you know what? Your charters, your main, you will never acknowledge our right to exist here. It's river to the sea. Like, you want us gone. You know what? You're gone. And that's where his head is at, whether that's a good thing, a bad thing, Churchillian. I've heard a lot of thoughts on it. It's just that's my interpretation of how it's going. It's hard to negotiate with someone who will not negotiate. And all of the attempts of two-state solutions that have been tried in the past 40 years, they always end the same way, because the starting point is a non-starter. You don't exist. You shouldn't be here. We will not stop until you're gone. It's like, all right, well, we've tried it the other way for 4 decades. Let's try it the other way. So it's an awful situation. And if Trump were in office, I don't know that attack would have happened.
I don't know. It seemed like they allowed that attack to happen. They let their guard down. And if you really do the research and look into it, it's just, there's no excuse for that to happen. And the other thing is, as much as I would love to side with Netanyahu and believe that these poor people just got attacked, they made up so many things about that attack, with 40 beheaded babies or mass rapes hoax. They had no reason to lie about that. So that kind of destroyed their credibility in that sense. And with the inexplicable security failures, I'd have to say Netanyahu should be at the ICC, at the Hague, and should be interrogated by the international community to see how complicit he actually was. And maybe he's innocent, and I'll be happy to apologize, but I've always been suspicious of him.
All right, let's move along to this one here. This is Ian Miles Chong, quoting George Orwell's 1984, saying, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." Ian is saying CBS ran a hit on Elon Musk over his support for free speech. They call it misinformation because it goes against the narrative. Here's this.
David, you've been really proactive. I see you online pushing back when you encounter really serious election misinformation, particularly when it comes from someone like Elon Musk, who owns a social media platform and has been pushing some really
Man, those eyebrows are really pushing some interesting
inflammatory claims when it comes to voting.
Yeah, there are very powerful forces that want us as Americans who live in our democratic society to doubt that democratic society, to doubt our elections that decide our leaders, and to hate our neighbors, to think of our neighbors as enemies if they happen to disagree with us politically. And the fact is that our elections are as secure as they've ever been.
Blake, are elections as secure as they've ever been? Do you feel comfortable there?
Not in the slightest. That's awful. No. After 2020, I mean, there's just so many things to go after, but I don't expect the CBS reporter to push back on that. But he deserves pushback if he's going to make bold statements like that. He should have community notes. He should be in trouble for spreading misinformation.
Yeah, that's a good one. I agree. I don't even know where this came from. It was just funny. I don't know if this UN report even exists or if this is satire or comedy, but it says Americans own 46% of the world's 1 billion guns, says a UN report. Yeah. And there's the glorious face, James Wood, saying there's still more work to do there. The bumpy retweet says totalitarians would love to see an America without arms. Then government could snuff this whole freedom nuisance completely out.
So I got to point to my shirt. First Amendment defines us, and the Second Amendment protects us.
Hang on. There we go. First Amendment defines us. Second Amendment protects us.
Yep.
Absolutely. In that order. Yeah. So that's funny. Interesting. Elon said CBS and especially the professional liar they interviewed are the disinformation. What is this one? 2 days and counting, and Kristen Welker still hasn't issued an apology for lying on her program regarding her claim that Kamala Harris had met with Gold Star families while being present at the dignified transfer 3 years ago. Blake, I don't think we've even chimed in on this Gold Star thing, and it's not in the stack. What say you about President Trump going to Arlington? He was invited by the Gold Star families. The Gold Star families also invited this administration, Biden/Harris. They ignored them and did not even respond. And that mirrors exactly what happened when Angela McArdle, who runs the Libertarian Party, she said, I invited Joe Biden, the Democrats, to come and present why we should vote for their party this year. They ignored us. But RFK Jr. said, yes, I would love to be there. And he gave a speech. And Donald Trump said, yes, I'd love to be there, and gave a speech. So what say you about this Gold Star family situation here that's really bringing the Afghanistan botched withdrawal / attack on America back into the forefront of conversation and thought?
Yeah, it's weird watching this administration try to, twist this and spin it, as bad on Trump, when in reality it makes them look terrible, and they just want to sweep this thing under the rug. So they have no benefit by going there. It would be a disaster. And that was one of the worst things that has happened. Trump is right to point that out. There is no other way to spin that as a botched withdrawal, and 13 service members should not have died, but they died from our incompetence in getting out of Afghanistan. So they, of course, are going to avoid it. And Trump is embraced it, and that's what he should have been. And of course, the media can never say anything positive about Trump. It's always got to do something that's, he did this or didn't do that, or he took a picture and he had a thumbs up sign, or he was disrespectful, or he shouldn't have been there, and this is sacred ground. But bottom line is, no, that the Democrats messed it up. So own it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something they do not do. Kamala has earbuds in now, walking past the press, pretending they don't exist, thinking she can get away with not answering for all of the past 3.5 years. I can't believe anyone. And that's why the polls that are being run, Mark Cuban just ran a poll. He got demolished, so he took it offline, apparently.
He took it down.
Is coming in 70-30, 75-25, 80-20, 65-35. Like, this is a massive blowout. There's no, oh, it's even. Oh, it's pretty close. This isn't remotely close. And they're just blowing past responsibility, diplomacy. They're blowing past actual leadership. They're blowing past the job interview. They're just trying to skip the job interview. This whole process is a job interview. Nobody, not a single elector in this country voted for Kamala Harris. She was installed after her and Obama and Pelosi staged a coup to rig their own primary a third straight year in a row. And that is a party that's going to try to tell you, you need to vote for us to save democracy. Are you out of your GD minds? You've got to be out of your minds with these people. What did you pull up here, Blake?
It's a poll for Mark Cuban.
There
I don't
it
know
is.
if I told this or not, if it's the same one, but
yes.
Yeah. So it's clearly 7 out of 10, or pretty close, rounding up a little. The poll, even though he speaks to a lot of, he's turned into this deranged leftist. He's completely out of touch. He's not making any sense. He's getting into a lot of arguments. And somebody I tried to respect. I kind of liked him as a character for the owner of the Mavericks. I've loved that Shark Tank show, but he's turned into a woke leftist, and he is finding himself on the wrong side of history. And there you go. And that's yes, they can try to spin this no matter what or however they want, but it's not going to happen. The results speak for themselves that people want Trump. And as the polls that you're pointing out, the idea that they're 49 or 48, 47 continually, I'm not buying it either. So
this is going to be what 2020 would have been if those 6 states didn't pause. Trump was up hundreds of thousands of votes in that circumstance, without a pandemic, without some excuse, and all of the measures that have been put in place by the patriots across the country. This should be the embarrassment, the absolute ass kicking, shellacking that the Democrats have earned. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Mark Cuban, I just wonder if he's compromised in some sort of way. Did he get caught in a honeypot somewhere? Does he have video evidence against him? Is he, because what I go to our Spotify account for the New American Media. It's called the Agree to Disagree Show. We posted the video with Bob France yesterday, also Rumble and YouTube. But in my conversation with Bob France, we talked about LeBron James, because he and we've gone at it about the LeBron thing. I think LeBron's the greatest all-around basketball player of all time. He's 1A, Michael Jordan is 1B, and then there's a step down after that with another great bunch of some of the best players ever. But it's an unpopular take, and LeBron's such an unlikable guy now. It wasn't that way when he came back to Cleveland. He was beloved, but then he started getting really political. Like, he would get a text message saying, I need you to go out and say this stuff today. Almost like the Obama campaign was pushing him to do the Cuban stuff. It's like when Rob Reiner's tweet goes off, or he gets a text message, beep, beep. Oh, okay. My rulers who have incriminating information on me want me to tweet about this topic. Got it. It's just, I get that vibe with LeBron, and I get that. I don't know. Mark Cuban. Well, when they come out with weird opinions and they're so strong and bold, it's like, you have to be acting, right? You're not that dumb, are you? Like playing into the Kaepernick stuff and buying the ABC, ESPN, Disney, racist, Nike, Democrat line of bullshit, the divisive, toxic division into sports. Like, that's what the Democrats are about. They just want everybody fighting. They want a tarantula and a scorpion. Just shake them up in the cage. They just want to shake them and watch them fight each other. They're monsters. I don't like that party at all. I hope that they get resoundingly defeated in a very secure election. We'll see how it plays out. Anyway, enough about Cuban, but great job pulling up that part right there. That's exactly what I was looking for. Moving on here, Blake, Robert F. Kennedy. By the way, have you noticed, since Bobby Kennedy and Nicole Shanahan have joined the campaign, have you noticed that their prowess on social media? Have you been noticing Shanahan and Kennedy more, some of the great stuff they're putting out, and what a great addition they've been to the Trump campaign?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she put out that great ad last week about finding your independence. Maybe we should. I'll find it.
I'll tell you what. You pull that one up while I play this clip of Kamala. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says, "Well, here, let's just let her talk about the totalitarian she is and why nobody can ever think about voting for her." Whoop, no volume. All right, well, let's fix that. Here we go.
He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have.
I'm sorry, I needed to set that up. She's talking. She said he. She didn't identify. That's Elon Musk has lost his privileges, according to her. Like she's the school nanny. She's the nanny. Oh, you've lost your privileges. You don't get pudding today. No pudding for you, Elon.
He has lost his privileges, and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
Blake, does that have to stop?
Sorry, I was looking for that thing and I missed that last part.
She said there has to be a responsibility placed on these social media sites to understand their power.
Yeah.
And that here, no, I'm just going to play the last part.
Yeah,
that
is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
People speaking without oversight and regulation, does that have to stop?
No, absolutely not. People should be allowed to say what they want to say, and if there's something incorrect, it should be corrected. That's exactly what X is set up as a community note system to take care of that problem. They should incorporate that onto Facebook and other platforms. But we've already known, and Mark Zuckerberg has already said that they've been meddling in there, as well as with Twitter X and the Twitter files, that the government abuses their power by going in and protecting people from misinformation, when in fact it turns out later that the people were right and they were in the wrong, and they were deliberately covering up stories that were embarrassing or that they didn't want the public to know. So very dangerous. And so you can disregard everything Kamala says, and she should be called out and held to account for mentioning that.
By the way, I did pull this up here. I didn't see you pull it up. This is the Shanahan video that is absolutely fantastic. We all know people that suffer from this, but thankfully there's a cure.
Are you or your loved ones suffering from illnesses such as TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome?
Ooh.
Do you dismiss or deny the current issues facing our country, such as historic inflation, illegal immigration, corporate corruption, World War III escalations, and the chronic disease epidemic? Are you willing to elect someone who was the least popular vice president in modern history, and who offers no policy or vision for America simply because your brain keeps telling you anyone but Trump? If so, you might be struggling from TDS. Introducing Independence. Independence allows you the freedom to finally think independently once again. Instead of believing everything you hear from the mainstream media, Independence allows for constructive critical thinking.
I used to hear people on the news say things like,
Donald Trump and the movement he has encouraged are a threat to democracy.
And I instantly believed it.
Any thoughts on the first half of this, Blake? There's so much to unpack here. This is just pure gold.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a brilliant ad. And it's sad that things have turned into this. This is not, I've watched the Democratic Party change so much in the last 20 years. I don't think they would recognize themselves from this day. You could go back, throw this back there 20 years ago. And I think if you saw their policies and what they've turned into, they would never believe it, but they have. And it's like this weird, they've turned into a cult. And all they think about is just hatred for Trump and have no critical thought. I have a meme from Elon Musk, a Simpsons meme. We'll play this after this ad.
Oh, okay. Let me finish the ad, then we'll get to that meme.
Right.
With Independence, I now realize the media is run by the Democrat elite, who are a corrupt oligarchy that censors free speech, silences political opponents, supports forever wars, and abandons democracy by anointing its candidates.
Independence may not be for everyone. If you enjoy being lied to about your president's cognitive abilities, support Orwellian totalitarianism, or are excited about communist fiscal policy, independence may not be right for you. Common side effects of independence may include an awakening of rational thought, successfully identifying propaganda, freedom of choice, loss of hatred, anti-narcissistic behavior, and love of democracy.
I used to blindly hate whoever my party was running against. I didn't care about facts or policy because I was hopelessly indoctrinated. With independence, I'm much more interested in policies that uphold democracy, and I truly care about the health of our country and its citizens.
Ask your doctor if independence is right for you, and enjoy your freedoms once again.
Like, I mean, this is from Nicole Shanahan, the tech guru. I mean, this is a very well produced, very hard hitting, biting, accurate, important, informative parody commercial that really drives this point home about being independent versus buying the Democrats' BS.
Yeah, no, it's spot on, and every Democrat needs to see this. And it's a shame that it's so hard to reach people and to just kind of reach a breakthrough on common sense and critical thinking. But it's like a TDS. It's derangement, and they just seem to double down every time you kind of present these things. And let's see here. Let me talk about Frankie Brown just put a comment. Yeah, husband, mother-in-law both have TDS. I have a lot of people in my family. Some I didn't even get to see when I went back home because they don't even want to like talk to me. In fact, I was given like a directive before I even made it home to Minneapolis. As I was on my way from Milwaukee to Minnesota,
Yeah, I got
a phone call like, please don't. I know you just got back from the RNC. Please don't say anything like in front of the family. Not like I was going to come in like guns blazing, like, oh my God, I was at the RNC. The Democrats are so stupid. I had no plan on doing anything like that. And I have a lot of very opinionated, very smart people in my family. I would love to have that conversation. I enjoy those conversations, but a lot of people don't. And it's amazing how they would rather just shut you down, not have you talk, rather than just have a discussion about the facts. It's a very different than what I knew, 20 years ago with the Democratic Party.
And Blake,
yeah,
that's why my approach to interviewing people at the DNC was so different than being out there in the Bronx with Real America's Voice, and being out there in the Libertarian Convention talking, being in that environment, or being at the Republican Convention. These are people that have things to say and they want to talk. The other side, the commies, the commie gibberish, they don't. You can't defend the positions that they're told to hold. And so it does get very frustrating to try to make sense of something that doesn't make any sense. And they don't want to talk. They definitely don't want to talk. And I certainly was at an event somewhat recently with several groups of people and people I know, people I do things with from time to time. And I was pulled aside with one other person, and I was asked, and so was he, when so-and-so gets here, could you two please not get into politics? Could you please make sure that if you're talking about it, you don't include them, you don't. Can we just not do that?
No.
And she's like, well, they didn't ask me to ask you, but if you guys could. And I'm like, I don't like the feeling of that. I'm not like this either. Like, you know what? Let me tell you. Like, I don't know. I don't think I do. Maybe I do. Maybe that's what it feels like
for it.
Have to defend an indefensible position. To them, they feel like the spotlights are on because they can't. It doesn't compute. It doesn't register. They have no comeback for any reality, and then they get angry and like, I don't like that person anymore. Can you not? I had such a bad time because of that person was talking. It's like, did you know?
Yeah. It's weird. It's not how it used to be. It's strange because I enjoy those discussions, and you think you'd want to, tell people about your superior position, but now they're just so defensive that it's like they know that they have no substance, And so they're just trying to avoid it. They want to sit in their own echo chamber and believe whatever they want. And all of it is just Trump. I saw a coworker the other day wearing a Kamala shirt. And I asked her, like, is this...
That's the only piece of Kamala merch that exists. I've never seen any Kamala or Biden merch, by the way.
Yeah, and I asked her, is that a joke? And I didn't want to give her a hard time, but then but she said, no, this is real. And I didn't want to press her too hard, but just to kind of talk about a few things and say, like, do you really like Kamala, or is it just you hate Trump? And that's exactly what it was. She was, no, well, Trump's an idiot. I'm like, well, he's an idiot. Why is he an idiot? Oh, because he just, talks on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, well, the dude can talk off the cuff for hours. He's a smart guy. Would you rather have Trump or Kamala sitting with like other world leaders, Putin, negotiating?
Oh my God. Could you imagine that?
She's I'd still take Kamala. Okay, well, there you go. These people have just lost their minds, and it's the TDS, and there is no logic, there's no critical thought, and they just they just let the media do all the thinking for them, and they think that somehow makes strength in numbers, and they're okay. But it's weird seeing people with no substance. And yeah, I even talked to some people, and lady in Milwaukee, very opinion, wanted to shout down Trump all day, just sitting there with the megaphone. If she just yells loud enough, that makes her right. But it's bizarre. And so, yeah, there's a great tweet here from Elon Musk saying, maybe I'm an NPC. No, having the same opinions as celebrities and major corporations while repeating every media talking point verbatim is what real people do. And this is just 180 degrees different than the Democrats I knew, say 2004, 20 years ago. They weren't like this. And so they called out all of this stuff, and they were outraged by the awful Bush administration, the Fox News, the lies, the unnecessary wars, and the domestic spying. But now they are just totally in line with. They would love to use, the power of social media and the government to, shut down freedom of speech. They're okay with having a, war going on in Ukraine or wherever. So it's a very different party. It's alarming to have seen how things have changed for the worse. It was supposed to be a great awakening, and instead it's like the things have gotten strangely. But at least the Republicans have come around. They've gotten kind of rid of the old neocon philosophy and embraced more of the MAGA libertarian wing, classic Americana. But this is not the party of JFK anymore for the Democrats. This is an extreme leftist cult.
Yeah, they did not like RFK Jr. trying to participate, so they rigged it against him to block him so that they could slide Kamala in. From Know Your Meme, this is from a Simpsons where Skinner is going, am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong. That's where the Elon meme comes from. Pretty great stuff there. It's strange days indeed. It is challenging to have conversations of value with other people. So we try to have these conversations here among pseudo-friendly people. We can agree to disagree. Like we don't need to agree with everybody's exact points. We just want good conversations. We want to find out what's happening. This is also something that's happening, Blake. There's a press conference. I guess it was happening today. Computer Museum of America in Roswell, Georgia. So Fulton County has been sued again for refusal to produce the unsealed ballots. The greatest voting rights violation in Georgia history continues, according to this post by Garland Favorito. Fulton County recently refused open records request for the 2020 general election ballots filed by Voter GA co-founder Garland Favorito, even though the ballots are unsealed. Mr. Favorito will announce new litigation against the county designed to compel immediate release of the 2020 general election ballots that have been hidden from public view for nearly 4 years. The original lawsuit against Fulton County, currently known as Favorito versus Wan, was filed in 2020. Any thoughts on this one in Georgia, Blake? The Hodge twins are saying Georgia was stolen from Trump.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. There's so many problems with Georgia, and that's just one of them. So, I mean, if we had, Classic Americana. We'd have the federal government trying to invade Georgia to figure out what they're doing. It's like a third world country operating independently and trying to do things their own way. And then they actually had the audacity to, go after Trump and 19 members of his crew. But yeah, there's a lot of issues to sort out there. Fulton County is ground zero for a lot of things. There's a lot of other states too, but yeah, Georgia was one of the big ones.
And by the way, go to CISA. Go to CISA.gov/rumor control for election information. That's on the ticker at the bottom. And you can go to CDC.gov/vaccines and see WHO and WHO.int for the other stuff regarding medical claims, because those are your countervailing views. We are required to do that. They don't do countervailing views to what they spout, but we have to do that. That's a fun way to do things, Blake. So, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that as that develops. Kamala was also tweeting out on Labor Day, we honor workers and unions and labor. And Harmeet Dillon is saying, why are you undercutting American workers and their wages with illegal immigrants? I mean, that's a pretty fair question to ask, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of fair questions to ask of her, and I'd like to see Democrats explain this stuff. But they're gone, and I don't know if there's any reaching out to them.
No reaching out is also, I believe, Robert Reich, one of the worst voices out there that you'll ever find. And I think he gave the commencement speech when I graduated college. He's out there. Former U.S. Secretary of Labor Robert Reich has called for the arrest of Elon Musk for the crime of allowing free speech on X. Blake, let's hear this.
Free speech is the bedrock of democracy. And free speech is what allows atrocities to be called out and for people to be aware of them. That's why the Germans wanted to shut down the press immediately. So anyway, I think we should do everything we can to preserve free speech. And when we lose free speech, I think we lose democracy.
It's been really strange with Elon being put in the crosshairs now in, Venezuela? We talked about that Count Chocula guy last week. It's just strange seeing Reich now coming after Musk. He's calling their comments that he made in The Guardian, Reich did, calling for Musk to be reined in. You need to rein in Elon Musk because he's out of control. He's called for a Tesla boycott, advertisers boycotting X. He's called for regulators around the world to threaten Musk with arrest if he doesn't stop disseminating lies and hate on X. He's also said in the United States, the Federal Trade Commission should demand that Musk take down lies that are likely to endanger individuals, and if he does not, sue him under Section 5 of the FTC Act. He also says the U.S. government and we taxpayers have additional power over Musk if we're willing to use it. The U.S. should terminate its contracts with him, starting with Musk's SpaceX. And 6, make sure Musk's favorite candidate for president is not elected. Give people like this power and free speech will no longer exist. Blake, any thoughts on Robert Reich, the former U.S. Secretary of Labor, trying to Epstein/Trump Elon Musk?
He's a tyrant. He should be locked up. I mean, I'm not saying he should be. He's allowed to express his free speech, and I'm allowed to trash it. I mean, that is like something like, authoritarian would dream of, to go after somebody like that. And what lies is he prove the lies or not? These people they can't admit that they're wrong. They can't admit that they've been fooled or conned or what have you. So it's just to continually double down. Now they're just turning into total tyrants. I mean, that just sounds like something like, the King of England would have said against the colonists.
Right.
Or, right. Any, third world dictator. That is nuts. That's where it happens there. If you don't like America, then get out. If you're going to make those accusations on against Musk, then tell us where he actually lied. We're not taking your word for it. So,
and even if someone is allowed to lie, by the way, because the deep state lie to us every damn day. Every day they're lying to cover up a previous lie. It never stops. The big lie, the big lie, the big lie. They told us there was an insurrection for 3.5 years. They grossly misreported what was happening during the outbreak. They are the worst at reporting, and they are never held to account, especially since Obama reversed the Smith-Mundt Act and allowed the propaganda machine to crank back up. That needs to be step number one when Trump's back in office. Oh, I'll be dictator on day one. I'll open up energy and I'll shut down the border with executive actions, undoing the damage caused by Biden-Harris. Okay, fine. Part 3, you have to reverse Smith-Mundt. It has to be banned for these agencies, NBC, CBS, ESPN, Disney. They've all become propaganda outlets. And the social media companies are being forced to allow certain things and ban other things. And it's madness. This stuff all needs to be shut down. Speaking of being shut down, Blake, we did report this. This idiot Tony Paradise 27 said, in honor of Labor Day, the bar at Mar-a-Lago is offering drink specials. And it shows Clorox Beach, assorted flavors, $2.09. And we just said, we reposted it and said, false information. You're repeating a horrible lie. President Trump did not ever tell anyone to drink bleach. That is the bleach hoax, almost as bad as the fine people hoax. Blake, any thoughts on this one? Because X did say we've removed the post, but it's still here. But they said you and other people have reported this as being, under whichever category. Community noted this one. Yeah. This is the first one I ever did, but it's still up for now. Any thoughts on repeating this idiot lie here?
No, it's sad. I think they actually believe this stuff. And so that's the only way that they can justify their own insanity is by believing made up stuff. Like another one is Trump is going to be, dictator. Like he only said that it would be dictator for a day. Or they said, bloodbath when he was talking about the auto. They have to take things out of context and they have to take things and spin it in their own way. And they keep double downing, even though you're calling them out like, no, he was just talking about the auto companies. No, he wasn't talking about actually injecting bleach into your veins. No, he wasn't talking about, whatever. He didn't say we wanted to be dictator beyond the first day because Joe Biden signed like 50 executive orders. They all do on their first day, and that's it. So they have to just make up these lies in order to somehow that justifies their position. Now they're the good guys protecting democracy. So it's insanity.
Right. Speaking of good guys protecting democracy, look at these 4 topics that are trending on X right now. A deported alien has stabbed a teen at a baseball game. A sanctuary city policy releases a homicide suspect. Kamala Harris has alleged in 2011 with a hit and run, and Trump vows to release Epstein client list. These are news stories that are coming up. But yeah, it's just there are like 50 enormously important stories going on. So I'm going to wrap up just a couple more of these real quick. But man, it is this might be like one of the richest days of information coming in. It's all happening at once. Like we are moving so fast. 60 days before the election with Bob France yesterday, he said, we're like 30 days away from early mail-in voting or in-person voting, early voting, whatever it is. So we only have a couple weeks left, and I'm just feeling a barrage of stories. This one discusses what we kind of led the show with. Eric Erickson says, Hamas killed an American citizen with a bullet to the back of the kid's head, and Joe Biden has been sitting on the beach, and Kamala Harris is on the campaign trail talking about joy. That's totally rudderless leadership, it feels like. Gunther Eagleman says, anytime Trump went golfing, every liberal would melt down. Joe Biden has now spent 16 days on the beach, takes a single phone call about Lord knows what, and those same people are cheering him on. The Democrats are not serious people. So there's that. We'll let you click on this one if you want to. It's on the X feed at American_media_. Grant Cardone is breaking down what happens if Kamala Harris' capital gains tax plan were to happen. In home inflation will be 50% overnight, long recession, rich people will own everything. It's just the most ridiculous theoretical financial gobbledygook you've ever heard. And of course, Kamala was promoting that, her and her team. This one here, Elon, this is a message from Gold Star families. You know what?
I'm the father of Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui. My name is Jim McCollum. I am the Gold Star father of United States Marine Corps Lance Corporal Riley McCollum.
This is Mark Schmitz, Gold Star father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz.
My name is Darren Hoover, and I'm the Gold Star father of United States Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
My daughter-in-law, Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., was killed in the Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate.
Our kids were murdered because of your administration.
You were not at Dover for the dignified transfer, and no time have you reached out to me to offer your condolences, to offer thank you for Kareem's sacrifice and service.
They haven't reached out to these people once, Blake. They haven't even reached out once. Could you?
Yeah, why would they? It's an admission of their incompetence.
It's just shameful.
You have 13 families who have been waiting over 3 years to so much as get a phone call, to so much as hear our kids' names said aloud.
You failed for 3 years and 8 months to acknowledge our kids.
Where were you and Joe Biden on August 26, 2024? Nowhere near Arlington Cemetery. You couldn't be bothered to be with us or even say our kids' names, just as you had done for the last 3 years.
Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success?
Yeah, oh, well, I think she says it next.
President Trump has called. President Trump shows up. President Trump takes the time to hear our loved ones' stories.
We invited him to be there.
These are the only memories we get to make with our son, and it is you who is playing politics and trying to detract from our memories made that day.
President Trump has been there for us. He's been a rock for us. He showed compassion for us, and he showed he truly cares for the families that truly do know what the ultimate sacrifice really is.
That just echoes, like, that echoes what so many people have said. They've been invited and they're silenced. You know, that there's no reaction, there's no response, there's no follow-up, there's no answer to the request. They're just completely ignored. Kamala ignores Biden at the beach.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And if they had their way, they would just remove videos like that from social media and just have everything go through, you know, their legacy media outlets, and then nobody would ever have to hear about that. And that's it's a shame. They sweep things under the rug instead of just admitting and being doing what they should and just being apologizing and saying, yeah, they messed up and it's their fault. They got blood on their hands because of that botched withdrawal. At least throw your generals under the bus. Do something. It's not like I believe Kamala, put together the plan and came up with it. But to, ignore those families is bad. So I guess it's up to us and so many other people to keep throwing this out there, because this is embarrassing for the administration and it's making it worse by them ignoring it. So right. They should have to held this to account, and people need to understand that this is who these people are.
And it needs to be at the forefront of this campaign. Remember, that's how Joe Biden became Brandon. People were so angry at the Afghanistan situation that they started chanting F Joe Biden. And the reporter on the sideline at a NASCAR event had to lie and say, oh, look, they're saying, let's go Brandon. So now let's go Brandon means F Joe Biden. This video here also says several National Guard members. This is on the X feed at American_media_. Chuck Colesto put it out. Several National Guard members that served with Tim Walz stepped forward, calling him a coward and a military impersonator. So check that one out. This is a good thought from Johnny, saying, if y'all really want to end censorship, unhealthy food wars, poverty, income disparity, fake news, billionaires, and corporations controlling everything, then your number one and only issue would be ending the big money influence over government, but y'all ain't ready for that conversation. Yeah, I mean, that's all well and good. I don't know how that exactly comes to would come to fruition and what that would look like. But yeah, where there's a financial incentive, you get all sorts of bad stuff. 100%. We're going to get to this story. That's the migrant gangs. The Brazilian fake judge, Elon Musk, put out a list. He says, today we launched the daily data dump on the crimes under Brazilian law that the fake judge, Alexandre, has committed. He can block this platform in Brazil, but he can't stop the whole world from knowing his illegal, shameful, and hypocritical deeds. Karma's a bitch, bro. How interesting is this? Elon versus the Brazilian fake judge. Karma's a bitch. Like, they are going straight at each other.
No, this is great. And I don't see Alexandre really doing much. He's just trying, again, he's another person that wants to hide and just be his little tyrant and not have the world know about it. But the world deserves to know about it. And I even tweeted at the International Criminal Court, like, why aren't you doing something about this? So shutting down people's freedom of speech and targeting people, locking them up without trials. He's doing some really sinister stuff down there. Now he's targeting people using Starlink. I mean, it's really bad. It's way over the top. And they say he might even be involved in election interference there as well for Bolsonaro to win. So yes, he is a absolute tyrant, and that the world should be condemning him, and he should be another one at The Hague. Maybe he could be cellmates with Netanyahu. But anyway, he's bad news, and he needs to be apprehended before he does further damage in Brazil.
And that is the last thing I wanted to get to. There's a plain story about Brazil, but first, DC Drano saying they don't finish, just regarding the elections and Bolsonaro. Nice segue there. DC Drano is saying they don't finish counting on election night for one reason: to figure out how many votes they need to cheat, then slowly commingle those fake ballots in with the real ones. We know they do this. Question now is, can we stop them this time? Poll watchers must refuse to leave at any cost. Make them drag you out, because that is when they are going to cheat the most. And when you see them cheating, get video of it and call the RNC legal hotline to get immediate injunctions filed. No going home. Cat Turd saying no matter what excuses they give, any state that doesn't finish their vote count on election night is cheating, and the people in charge are traitors. Is that too harsh a statement, or we can just go by every vote in the history of America before? You get the votes in, you count them, it's over with, except for that one time everything was completely in shambles in 2020.
No, that's right. There's no excuse to not have it all done at that night within a time frame. It's how it's always been done, but now they're changing the rules, and now they had a pandemic, whether it was manufactured or real. The point is they use that to their advantage with this mail-in voting, and they had several states stop counting in the middle of the night. Suspicious things happening in multiple states, and we deserved to know more about it. Instead, they tried to shut us down and then said it was the most safe and secure election ever, which was laughable. So
yes, go to CISA.gov/rumor control, because they demand that you get countervailing views to say it was safe and secure, even though your spidey senses might say otherwise, Blake. Laura Loomer put this out yesterday. It's new footage from the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is camera. Look, the sniper is looking through his scope right there. There's Trump looking right at the direction of Crooks. Why in the world did he not take that shot to protect him? He theoretically sees the guy on the roof. He is pointing at the... Here,
and that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Anyway, Blake, as that plays in the background, it looks like that sniper was looking right at the shooter. I mean, we're a month and a half in. Any good updates? Any final thoughts? Like, how could this guy not have seen the guy on the roof aiming at President Trump? Why did he let him get the first shot off? I mean, this angle is just showing both of them in the same frame, looking allegedly, apparently in the same exact direction that the shot came from. I don't know that I've ever seen them in the same shot in real time like this before. I've seen some still pictures, but not the video. Is this damning footage, or does this raise more questions? Are you surprised we haven't gotten to the bottom of this, or what say you?
No, I'm not. I think this was a failed assassination attempt. That SS Secret Service guy's sniper, his job was to take out Crooks after they'd fired the shots. Or if he didn't know about it, he was maybe waiting for orders to say, yes, go ahead. Like, hey, we found a suspect. Can we take the shot? Or then they let him down because they didn't want him to take the shot, because they knew it was set up, and they've been stonewalling this entire investigation because this is what they wanted. This is a failed assassination attempt on Trump. And Secret Service are the top of the leadership. FBI, Secret Service are in on it. The cops, local cops, didn't seem to be, and they had a disconnect in the communication. But it was actually the local cops that probably indirectly were responsible for having this whole thing miss and throwing it off just enough. So yes, but this was you could say it's botched security. I say failed assassination. And that's, they had to take out Crooks after the fact because they don't want him answering any questions or saying, the FBI set me up. or what have you. And then they cremated his body a few days later. Nobody knows who he is. We still don't know what's going on with this investigation because it's probably going to point to the deep state. And they have a lot of explaining to do, but they're currently run by the Biden administration. So obviously they're not going to do anything about it. So that's what makes me fear for this election, because if Trump can win, they're going to go after all these people, and whether that's RFK Jr. or whoever, they're going to be able to run their own investigations and find out exactly what happened that day. Release the information from what happened back in 1963 with the JFK assassination and so many other things that the deep state has been covering up all of these years, which makes me think that they're either going to suspend the elections or they're going to do everything possible to cheat in 2024. I'm not saying anything about 2020. You can check CISA. But if they're complicit in so many of these crimes, then they have every reason to stay in power by any means necessary.
Any means necessary. Yeah. The fingers crossed. This should be a massive blowout. We just cannot have a repeat of 2020. It cannot be a repeat of 2020. It will not be. They need to stand down. They do not have the consent of the governed. Stand down orders. These are just stand down orders. It should be 70%. It feels like when it comes to policies, it's pretty obvious which ones people are in favor of and the ones that people are not in favor of. And with crime skyrocketing, it's just a nice moment. Watch the moment these glasses come off of this old man here. He's being held up at gunpoint, and he's had about enough. Wrestling the guy, kicks the gun out into the middle of the room. He's tossing him down the hallway there. This guy with a hoodie, a little hairnet, runs around and picks up the hot piece. And there, bam, dude gets blasted and broken in half, it seems. So people across the country, Blake, the crime waves are out of control, and people are having to defend themselves because, as I just put out, cops are saying they're arresting these people of homicide, of real crimes, and they're being told to dump them out because they're sanctuary cities and they can't report illegal criminal alien activity in their cities. We're hearing this more and more. We just shared one that said 3 out of 4 criminal acts in New York City, or at least this particular part of New York City, they are all crime and crime again. 3 out of 4 arrested in Midtown are migrants. They're illegal aliens. 75% of the crime, they're illegal aliens. What is happening here?
Yeah, I mean, these sanctuary cities have been flooded with illegals, and some people are trying to spin the narrative that they're not committing crimes like as much as like normal people are, because they're going to be afraid they're going to get caught and be deported. Yeah, like that's going to happen if they get caught and they get re-released. But it seems to be that there's a potential cover-up, and it's according to the New York Post. This is Mario Naufal saying that New York City recently arrived migrants are being arrested at far higher rates than public officials have acknowledged, according to the New York Police Department. Estimated as many as 75% of the people they've been arresting in Midtown Manhattan in recent months for assault, robbery, domestic violence are migrants. And it's made worse by sanctuary laws. So even if New York cops aren't allowed to work with ICE on cases where they believe suspects are in the country illegally. That's just shameful. It says additionally, NYPD says it's barred from tracking the immigration status of offenders. So they won't even let them do their jobs. Yeah, they find
what's going on.
They're here illegally. It should be automatically get out or be put in jail. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Work on a chain gang. You do something wrong, especially when you snuck in here to begin with. You sneak into Disney, you probably shouldn't be going around breaking the rides, pickpocketing the people that are in there, harming people that are trying to enjoy their day. Oh yeah, there's a special place for someone that's gonna break into a place and cause problems. They got to be out of their GD minds, Blake. I've said that phrase twice now. I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. They want free room and board and a job. Hey, they can put you to work in the county jail or wherever. I mean, that's where these people should belong. Any of these gang members, these people from other countries that want to come in here and just have their way with the American people. No, yeah, there you go. You get stay in jail. You get your meals in there. You get your free rent, and then you do some work, whatever, make license plates or clean up the sides of the freeways. I don't care. I think that's an okay deal, but you got to let the police do their job.
Okay, let's do that. Also, let's do our job. Let's do a hard reset and go through the stuff we had scripted. I have 10 more stories I want to get to, but we have some scripted stuff. Let's go right to it.
35 minutes.
Pied Pipe saying the great replacement is upon us. Yes. And we are seeing that in the form of migrant gangs taking over housing. Blake, agree or disagree that this is just the beginning?
Yes, it appears to be just the beginning. I will pull up a story here because this has happened now twice. We've had the horrible story over the weekend. These Venezuelan gang members, they took over an apartment in Aurora, Colorado, a suburb of Denver. And they did the same thing the other day in Chicago. So Denver's a hot spot for dumping the Venezuelans who crossed our open borders while the current administration does nothing. But last night, a shocking 911 call was shared by libs of TikTok, revealing 32 armed Venezuelan migrants were attempting to overtake an apartment complex in Chicago, which we just left a couple weeks ago. Brian, it's too bad. So yes, 9/11 operator talking about, the trespassing. They all have motorcycles in the courtyard. Stairwells are filled. So they are committing acts of terrorism. And they've been warning about these Venezuelan gangs for quite a while. They're dumping them out of the prisons, and they are arriving here in the United States. And the cops don't seem to be able to do anything about it. And of course, when the sanctuary laws or these leftist, mayors and governors are not doing anything about it. It's another one of those things they want to sweep under the carpet. And they don't even like this stuff being reported. And it's, of course, it should be embarrassing for the administration. They should have to answer this. If we could reach out to leftists, there's so many issues like this one where you should be able to reach out and go, oh my God, like what is our immigration policy and how is this happening? So Brian, I guess you got something else pulled up.
Yeah, let's take a look.
That guy from Chicago, but we'll get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, let's enjoy. Look at all the cultural enrichment here.
Huh.
Look how wonderful it is. This is happening in, sorry, where's the page? Yeah, this is just masked gangs wielding AR-15 style rifles are invading the Denver suburbs now. Like there is the invasion has started. Do you see what's happening? 4 or 5 people at once with ARs. Are you ready at a moment's notice? No arrests have been made. Colorado has become absolutely lawless, and it's spreading across the country. When does this end?
It ends when Trump gets elected, or there's going to be vigilante justice, and just things are going to plummet into chaos. Now, this resident here was kind of trying to politely warn the Venezuelan gangs taking over the complex and their gun-free city. We got switches, but you know what? If these Venezuelan gangbangers have got AR-15s now, so he was kind of warning like beforehand, oh, these guys just have revolvers and machetes. Well, no, if they got AR-15s, your switches aren't going to do much. And just to give people an idea of what a switch is, he's talking, I guess you could rig a Glock handgun into fully auto by messing around with the firing pin or something. So let's take a quick look at this ATF guy shooting first semi-auto and then removing the pin to make it a switch, as this guy said.
As fast as I can.
That's already pretty fast right there. But if you put one of those extended mags on there,
that's
and you
a pull of the trigger each time, and then this again is turning it on fully auto.
So it basically turns a Glock handgun into a Uzi, but your ammunition is gone like that. So you have to be pretty quick on how you want to fire. But if you've got 30 guys on motorcycles and you've got AR-15s, those switches ain't going to do you much, bud. So this is a far more serious problem than we think.
It's a huge problem, Blake. Would you agree or disagree that migrant crimes are being covered up to insulate Democrat voters?
Yeah, so that basically ties into what I just showed already with Mario Nawfal. Oh, here, the same thing right there. They don't want people to know about the massive amount of crime. They're covering it all up, and even the NYPD is admitting this. And it's also pretty bad in Aurora. It seems like the people are like the mayor is mad or the governor is mad that they're making this public instead of like trying to keep it on the down low. But people
traitors, man. This is so weird. These are traitors to the country, traitors to the communities. Like there needs to be, what is the removal mechanism to remove somebody and charge them who's putting you at risk, who's completely going against the vow that they take to serve their community. These people are anti whatever community they happen to be sitting in. They're foreign agents. They're acting as foreign agents. Hostile foreign agents at that.
Right. So this is only going to get worse if Kamala stays in power. The Democrats, the deep state, or the neocons, whatever, they'll allow this to continue to fester, or we elect Trump and put an end to this and start deporting all these people. Or putting them in jail. Like, hey, you want to stay here? Oh, you're a criminal? Okay, you can either stay in our jail or you can go wherever you came from. That should be the easy solution. Let the nonviolent marijuana people out of prison and put these Venezuelan gangbangers and let them put them to work for us. They want to be here. That's all I got to say about that. So it is a crisis. It is worse. It is being underreported, and it's only going to get worse if we're going to continue things with the same administration. So these Democrats, wake up, get out of your cult, stop believing the media. You don't have to take our word for it, but you got to start getting some balanced news coverage in your life, or you're going to lose this country and you're going to seriously regret this for the rest of your life, going, oh my God, I can't believe I was complicit. I can't believe all this stuff was happening and I didn't do anything about it. And now it's too late. So you're going to have to be getting your firearms and defending yourself wherever you live, because
do it now. And if you haven't practiced, go practice. If you don't have enough, get a couple more boxes of what you need. Do it now. This is happening now. This is the time. No more messing around. Do it now. Do you agree then, Blake, or disagree that Democrats are hiding Kamala's policies until after the election? Is this what she wants? She wants this invasion. She has overseen, as border czar, the invasion of America for a potential homegrown attack, a homeland attack at their planning. I've got an awful feeling about this.
Right. So they're just basically running on celebrity endorsements and then, of course, hating Trump. But they actually have no policies. They're not talking about it. And like Nancy Pelosi says, we got to pass it so we can find out what's in it. And I think that's going to be their strategy, is that they don't want the Harris they don't want people knowing about what the actual policies are until after the election. They're not going to get away with that. But I mean, I think in their scenario, that's what they were going to do. Try to keep Kamala out of the public eye as much as possible. They finally got her to do one interview, and it was with Tim Walz, and it was only 18 minutes long. Brian, we do like at least an hour and a half show twice every time we do it. And they can't even do 18 minutes without, their little sidekick, even in a friendly environment on CNN, and it still went bad. So it's pretty bad. And of course, they ran Joe Biden from his basement in 2020. So yeah, that appears to be the strategy. Just don't care about our policies. Just hate Trump, and then look at Taylor Swift or whoever, Mark Cuban. He likes us, so vote for us. It's pathetic, but that's all they got. And you know what? Unfortunately, we got a lot of real dumbed down people in this country that just don't pay attention.
Well, let's ask if you agree or disagree then that Kamala is going to extremes in order to avoid talking to the press. So yeah, put out 18 minutes. This, if a seventh grader tried to put this together as their end of year project, this gets an F. Whatever the Democrats are up to, this is terrible. Some of the new polling that's coming in is just showing. Now, I'm not even talking about the 75, 78, 70% for Trump that a lot of these Mark Cuban and Elon Musk polls are getting, which kind of feels accurate. It's somewhere to like 7 to 9 points, 7 to 10 points. Trump is up now in the places where it all counts. Like they talk about too big to rig. How far ahead do you have to be to make sure they can't stop and try to cheat on it? But yeah, I mean, you look at Harris, she is, Frankie saying she may have to get her mask and cape out of storage. Mask and cape. Dun, 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 dun. I'm Handyman. Remember Handyman?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. God,
that was the worst movie I think I've ever seen. That was one of the first times I think I've ever walked out of a movie theater. Was it Blank Man?
Blank Man?
Terrible movie. No, it was Damon Wayans. I mean, it looked fun. It was a good sketch on In Living Color back in the day, but the movie was god awful.
Yeah, I don't remember the movie, but yes, that Damon Wayans and In Living Color. I grew up on that stuff. I love that stuff. But talk about Harris now. Like, this is hilarious that she is trying to run the Biden in the basement strategy that they deployed during the outbreak in 2020. Look at her and look what she's doing. Wouldn't they have coached this better than that? She's pretending to be on the. Well, go ahead. Tell us what we got here.
Well, I'm sure this is already coached, and she knows this. She doesn't want to talk to the press. She can just pretend to be on the phone. It's a great solution, right? Except the fact that she had her headphones on too. So she's probably listening to Spotify or something, and she's making it look like she's on the phone so she doesn't have to answer any questions. Who knows? She might even be drunk by this time. I mean, what is it, 10 in the morning? Yeah, who knows? Maybe she's had a few mimosas. Right. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. But why would this would never happen with Trump or J.D. Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy? There's a lot of people that love to, talk about their positions or even engage with hostile reporters.
Can you play this video and full screen it?
Sure.
Because just to watch her body, the way she thinks she's better than everybody, the way that her party doesn't believe that they're entitled to audition for this job. They don't think they need to show up for the job interview. They're trying to walk right past you and start their first day of work.
Yeah, they just want the coronation.
And she's holding her phone up to her ear, her left ear, while she's on earbuds.
Yeah, I mean,
she's
at the very least,
pretending.
When you pull up in that limo and you're stopping and you have to get out, that's your cue right there. If you want to be a leader, take your fucking headphones off, you put your phone in your pocket, salute your soldier, and go on your plane. You don't have to answer the questions, but I mean, you could answer one or two before you get on there. But yeah, she really is clearly like very uncomfortable about this stuff. And she went to an extreme to avoid talking to the press. And then it made it even look worse because now she's trying to answer the phone, but that doesn't fly because you still got your headphones in like an idiot. So nobody can hear you. How unprofessional is that? And she wants to be the leader of the free world.
It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Not even bothering to interview for the position, thinking they have it so in the bag. And that should be terrifying. Because if the deep state thinks they're going to get away with what they did in 2020 again, there is no way that happens again. Once again, reiterating, there's no way you're going to pull a repeat of 2020. You better not be confident because you're going to pull some shenanigans and try to install this lady. It's not happening. Nobody's buying it. It's 70-30, stand down. It's at 78-22. Stand down. You don't have this in the bag. That bothers me, Blake. It worries me. Hopefully they're just really cocky and it's all about to bite them. We'll see how it happens. But how it plays out. But if we're talking about how unlikable Kamala is, let's talk about her fake accent. Do you think that she's agree or disagree, Blake, that she is using fake accents, Kamala, because her voters are stupid? Agree or disagree?
She's really treating them like they're stupid. And I mean, she's coached to this. Okay, here's just that one last photo of here of holding up her phone. That's red-handed right there. Headphones on. You're not talking on the phone. So you're busted. Just own it. But yes, going into this, Kamala Harris now being attacked for using a fake accent in a speech in Detroit. What do you think? I don't think I have the article, but that's okay. We'll run this clip. This is...
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time. Because what we know, you better thank a union.
That is insulting. I don't know how they coach her with that, or they listen to that and they let her go out with that. I mean, she did that. It was so embarrassing when she did that in Atlanta, and now she's doing it again in Detroit.
How? Well, speaking of Detroit and accents, how about this? Eminem.
Tonight we decided to do all the shows. I mean,
one show.
One show.
Tonight.
We decided tonight to do the show in accents.
This one.
Yes.
Go.
So special treat for you tonight. What do you want? You wanted accents? We give you the accents. You want it? Whatever you want. Whatever you want, we give it to you. You like it? You like it, then make it nice.
There, it's as believable as an Eminem accent. We did the whole Relapse album. He did it in an accent. It really annoyed some of his fans. But yeah, talking about Detroit and fake accents, man. Go figure.
At least his accents, sound pretty good. Hers is like really insulting and degrading. I would think to black people. Like I would be offended by that. I mean, oh my God, could you imagine if we like a white person talked like that or tried to appeal to that? I mean, she's not really black. She's trying to present herself as black, but she's like insulting, over the top, terrible. And her advisors should tell her to knock it off or not even do it. Just go be yourself at least. So that was bad. I mean, we rocked Hillary back in the day, but that could have just been anybody for Arkansas. It wasn't like directed necessarily at a particular community, except for dumb hot sauce comment. But this is bad, really bad. So you better thank a member like me.
Remember for sick
leave. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's terrible, absolutely awful. All right. Anyway, set enough. All right. So yes, I think she does think her voters are stupid.
I think
and they're stupid. You're stupid if you're going to vote for her because of that.
Yeah.
Oh, she talks just like us. Well, okay.
Eminem rapping in a UK accent.
Sometimes I'll be laid back on the beat, so laid back that the track will go ahead of me and float. It'll be like I'm floating in a cloud. But sometimes I get quiet, then I get loud. Then I go up, then I go down.
There you go. There's Kamala working on her accents. How about that? Okay. Yeah, Kamala, cringe. Kamala, the most cringe person around. Okay, let's talk about Facebook. Blake, agree, disagree that Facebook censorship drastically altered the 2020 election?
Yes.
I skipped the Russia Kamala preferring
okay,
Trump.
We'll do that one real quick because it's not that important. We don't need to flesh out that one too much. But yes, Russia, the Kremlin spokesman suggests Moscow prefers Kamala over Donald Trump. And the reason why is because Putin indicated that that they were predictable, but Donald Trump is not predictable. So that makes him a much more challenging opponent. So anyway, so yeah, I think that would agree, and I'm sure that absolutely Russia would prefer that Kamala wins because maybe none of this right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it would change a lot of different things. We could get along with Russia just fine. Let them be, let our be. We this whole Ukraine thing probably could have been avoided had Trump been in office. Not that I think Putin's taking over territory, but
Trump was calling out the corruption in Burisma, everything happening in Ukraine, but that was a deep state operation. They didn't like that was being exposed. So they went after him and impeached him for exposing the bribery and kickbacks to the Biden crime family. This is how we're trying to run a nation. Everything is a lie. Everything is so that something could be pilfered and taken by somebody else. It's just the deep state. My point being that the deep state would tell you, oh, well, Trump's a Putin puppet. 2016 didn't happen. He was installed by Vladimir because of, checks notes, a pee tape. What? Yes, Trump peed or had a prostitute pee on him because he's so powerful. He likes being diminutive, and that's the one time where he can be, treated like that. And so Putin had that on tape. So Putin will get anything he wants from Russia or from Donald Trump. Trump will do anything for Putin because he doesn't want that tape to get out. What? That was what the deep state told us for 8 years. That's what the Democrats lied to us about for 8 years, Blake. 8 years. So, I don't know. Kamala, you prefer Trump. Who knows? Keith is saying you guys have to see the exchange Peter Doocy had with Pierre in today's White House press conference about the fake accent. Blake, maybe pull that one up. Let me bounce to the next one here. I guess we talked about Russia preferring. We can go to the next one. Of course, Facebook censorship dramatically altering the 2020 election. We kind of touched on that a moment ago, Blake, but do you agree or disagree that Facebook censorship and their paid boxes, remember they paid to turn out the vote in the specifically deep blue areas, allegedly, where they can just take ballots and bring you stacks of boxes and they count them all. Nobody checks anything. So there he is, Mark Zuckerberg trying to come clean. Do we believe his apology project, or do we think he's so many questions on Zuckerberg, but let's stick to this one. Did it drastically alter the 2020?
Yes, just real quick because I don't have a lot of time. So very much a lightning round here. Let's just touch on this. This is a great article from Jeffrey Tucker out of the Activist Post, and the implications of what happened. And he was also just presenting out, here's Tim Walz, who obviously won Minnesota and is now the VP candidate for Kamala. And they're showing how Scott Jensen, a doctor, respected man in the community, lost the election for governor of Minnesota back in the day. But for Dr. Jensen, who was very much against the lockdowns, of course, Tim Walz was trying to get neighbors to rat on each other and shooting people with paintballs to get them back in their homes. Who was in favor of the lockdown and let Minneapolis burn. So Dr. Jensen, I haven't got a chance to watch all of this. I'm just about 40 seconds into this. But pointing out that, Facebook banned Dr. Jensen from advertising completely. It reduced his reach on Facebook by 90% and likely cost him the election. Now, we know this stuff now that Zuckerberg was being told by the federal government to, censor opposition. And so, yes, it probably cost a lot. But by going after all of these other people running that around had a different narrative on things, it probably did cost them a lot of people of the election, not just the governor of Minnesota, but so many other races around the place, because it's not a fair system. Not everybody was allowed to just advertise and promote on the platform like everybody else. It clearly benefited one side over the other, and that side won, and that has had serious ramifications on everything. So that's all. So many people that are in power now that shouldn't be, had it been a fair effort in 2020. So yes,
2 years ago, there's people that in the red wave, getting to the bottom of counting the ballots has got to be the number one thing. And luckily they're pushing that. That's not in the stack. I'll get to it once you leave. But Mike Lee is now, a lot of people are starting to push to get the SAVE Act attached to the spending bill, so you will shut the government down before you try to have another election without doing this. But my question is, why didn't you do this 4 years ago? Where were you 3.5 years ago? Why are we waiting till the last minute? But we'll see how it shakes out. But Ashley saying, oh, yeah, she likes to say that. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, it's very sad and distressing that you feel that way. Trump was found guilty of felonies, by one judge, and but they were misdemeanors normally, and they had to trump them into felonies to try to make it look like it was bad. Liable for sexual abuse. Oh, yeah. How's that working out for Biden and his daughter, Ashley? No, he's not liable for sexual abuse because he didn't have anything to do with E. Jean Carroll. He only got in trouble for defamation because she's a Looney Tune, and he called it out. So no, that isn't true. So we've made enough points on here.
I guess
Ashley, you're a very sad
allegedly,
person. I know
right?
you're just trolling, but that's ridiculous.
Like we'll add allegedly to that because they are definitely suing everybody attached to the E. Jean Carroll thing. Allegedly.
Yeah.
So we'll hedge that on your comments.
Yeah. So he was found guilty of defamation, not guilty of actual.
She was in the comments saying it again yesterday. But does that just, Blake, tell us that the real totalitarians are the Western countries and not Russia? I know that should have been tied to the Russia story, but
not necessarily.
They're all kind of connected.
Yeah, just showing if the arrest of Telegram, think that would happen in China or Iran or maybe Russia, North Korea, or maybe Brazil even. But no, this is this is France. So it appears, Western countries, United States, Great Britain, Germany. They're probably pretty happy about this. Telegram founder being arrested. Even the UAE, United Arab Emirates, outraged because he's a dual citizen of France and UAE. That this guy was taken down by France. Sneaky. So it appears that they don't like the freedom of speech that they can't control or see. And so, yes, that shows you all you need to know. The West are the ones that are going full authoritarians, the World Economic Forum, New World Order, whatever you want to call it. Globalists. Yeah. So Russia's not as bad of a guy, as bad as we might think. That we're the bad guys now. We're the baddies now. To quote,
that's so brat. That's so brat.
Yeah,
we're so brat.
Pretty much.
Okay. As we wrap up the show, Blake, the NFL should reschedule their Friday game out of Brazil. It's connected to the Elon situation, of course. And I would say yes. If you're going to take the All-Star game out of Atlanta because you want to keep women safe in their women's restrooms and take it to Denver for some reason, you should absolutely pull your NFL out of Brazil with what's going on down there. First with Lula seizing control of the country, and then this Count Chocula judge coming after American citizen Elon and his companies and threatening everybody everywhere, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. So if the NFL, not that I would trust Roger Goodell, but with everything that's come to light with this tyrant Alexandre de Moraes, this court justice gone out of control, gone rogue, arresting citizens, shutting down Twitter. So people can't even talk about this NFL game. It's going to be the Packers and the Eagles on Friday night in Brazil. Yes, in light of this authoritarianism, the NFL should pull out. Say, hey, we only deal with free countries. This is a disgrace what these guys doing. It could help the international community and the world know what's going on in Brazil. And they should not be rewarding them by playing this game there and making this about a football game. This should be all about Marias.
By the way, this is a fake Philadelphia Eagles Kamala Harris endorsement at a bus stop. A true patriot took upon himself to cover it up. And then the Eagles had to call this out. Look at that, official candidate of the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles were not happy about that. And the residents showed how the real America is manufactured. So they are not a fan, but that Eagles game coming up, it has to go. You can't work with a country like that. Like they're actively coming after us, just like France, just like England. We need leadership in the White House for damn sure, because this cannot continue. Speaking about something that should not continue, final story, Blake, microplastics. Could they make humanity extinct in 100 years?
Yeah, it looks like that. I read as a great article here by Michael Snyder, also out of the Activist Post, talking about the microplastics. So an extinction level threat poised to dramatically reduce global population. Most people have no idea. We are literally killing ourselves and everything around us and don't know what's happening. We think that we're throwing away these plastic products, but they don't magically disappear. Instead, they break down into smaller and smaller pieces. Today, there are trillions upon trillions of incredibly small plastic particles that have literally saturated our entire environment. Also, of note here, it says approximately 40% of the dust in our homes is actually microplastics.
Oh, come on.
That sounds insane, but I'll just take it with, it might be true.
No way.
Every time it rains, they pour from the sky. Our soil is teeming with microplastics. Air we breathe, virtually everything we eat and drink. You're talking about, 'cause they were mentioning this, like, they're finding all these microplastics in people, testicles. So it's everywhere, including our brains. They're saying there's a small percentage that are actually pulling up in brains when they are doing autopsies. So about 0.5% of your brain is got microplastics in it potentially, and it's getting worse. And the way that at the rate it's going, every 8 years, like increasing another 50%, they're saying that in 80 years, 28% of our brains, if this math holds up, so if 28% of your brains are coated with microplastics, we'll be dead, or we'll be so stupid and dumbed down and rotted out that we might as well be dead. So it's a major emergency. As convenient as plastics are, it is killing us, and it could make us extinct. So something to keep in mind.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Blake. You can go as soon as you need to. This is the Ducey clip if you wanted to watch it. I heard it's fantastic. If you got to go, I will play it.
Let's do it. Yeah, because that's what I had too. So you got it. We both got it. Oh, it's the same clip, Charlie Kirk. Okay, yeah, let's roll this one.
Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a Southern accent?
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
She was talking about unions in
She's
Detroit
laughing because she knows what
using
she's talking
one tone of voice.
Is this something that
Same
you think...
line.
Okay, Peter.
That she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a Southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear the question that you're... I mean, do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care... You know what they care about?
Yeah.
They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about health care. That's what Americans care about.
So
that's what they want to hear.
This is something...
They care about... Your colleague just asked me about... What basically we talked about, went back and forth about democracy and freedom. That's what they care about. I'm not even going to entertain some question about the president. It's just hearing it sounds so ridiculous.
Well, but hearing
the accent sounds ridiculous.
Is
the question I'm talking about? The question is just insane.
Is that how she talks in meetings here?
I'm just Peter. We're moving on. We're still moving on.
Oh, we are moving on away from this joke of an administration, sweetheart. Yeah, we're moving on. All right.
Show that. If only like Ducey had to say, hey, let's put it on the monitor, and then everybody in the press corps has to see it. Because, it's easy to just laugh it off because it's embarrassing, and she knows it's embarrassing, and she's laughing about it. But, I mean, she's trying to play ignorant because they don't want the American people to see that, because that is insulting.
Oh,
so bad. It's cringy, awful, and there's no place in our society.
Agreed. Okay, Blake, you got to run. Tell people where they can find you. And you got a show tonight, right?
Yes. Toxically Masculine Tuesday on with Mike Barra and Dr. Brooks Agnew and Steve Doran, the Trail Boss. So that'll be on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, check that one out. You can find me on Twitter X at TV's Blake Wally, and the website for the archive is at thenextlevelnews.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and we'll look forward. We'll see you guys Thursday. All right, take care.
Yeah, and maybe we'll even rope Blake into some football talk. We'll see how it goes.
Perhaps.
All right, to be continued, Blake. Good job today. Great job today.
Thank you. All right,
so much news today. We'll see you later, buddy. Wow, what a day for news. It's been wild. I want to reference this and tell you Mike Lee, saying hats off to Speaker. Well, let me go. Actually, maybe I ended up in the wrong. Yeah, I was trying to get to Jake. Where's the Jake Sherman? I can't. Oh, okay. I was trying to take. It should be a little easier to go backward on tweets, to just kind of follow the chain of command of how we got there. Anyway, Mike Lee saying hats off to Speaker Johnson for attaching the SAVE Act to the September spending bill. If it's a non-starter with Democrats to deter non-citizens from voting, they're going to have to explain that. Because Punchbowl News says Johnson is looking at passing a stopgap funding bill next week that keeps the government funded until March 2025. But he'd attach the SAFE Act to it, which will be a non-starter with most all Democrats. Well, yeah. If you're against a safe election, Kyle Becker says, big news in the U.S. Senate. The SAVE Act will be attached to the spending bill. That means Democrats must vote to protect elections from illegal alien votes or be responsible for a shutdown. How fantastic. Moving on here on our X feed, American_media_Donald Trump at Real Donald Trump says Kamala Harris pledged free health care for illegals, and they are coming to collect. Elon posting, the people of Brazil are not happy with the current regime. And Wokeness said this was a protest in Brazil a few months ago. This is why the regime is panicking. Look at the size of this. They know, just like the United States knows, what happened in 2020. And you've been given your stand down order. Stand down. Do this peacefully. Stand down. Doge designer says Brazil unlawfully suspends an American company. Biden and Harris remain silent. Why? Because their party opposes free speech and may have similar plans for America. I mean, do you agree or disagree with that? Elon says exactly. There is 16 days in a row on vacation. Who's running the country? Because it's not Biden. No, seriously, this is not normal. This is a weird one here. Irish police have arrested Enoch Burke. By the way, look into the name Enoch, E-N-O-C-H, the teacher who refuses to endorse and affirm a transgender ideology. Mr. Burke has broken no laws. I have a right to be here. I have a right to work here. Shame upon you. You're a disgrace. You should seriously shock every single person in the entire Western world. You will all be expected to eventually conform to this mind virus-derived ideology. You must say that a man is a woman, that a woman is a man. Now, I'm trying to understand what this is with the USS Wasp. Let me see if I can get an update here, because this is a video that Chuck Calesto put out, allegedly saying a United States Navy personnel from the USS Wasp, and I believe I had family that served on the Wasp, but there's that dude that gets his head covered up, and this guy jumps in. He's not really, I don't know what's going on. The video cuts off. I can't follow it. But they're saying someone was abducted after disembarking in Turkey. September 2. No, I need the latest. Okay, thugs in Turkey abduct a sailor from the Wasp, put a bag over his head, yelling, "Yankee, go home." When his sailor tries to rescue him, they assault him. This is what Biden's weakness has done to our military. That has nothing to do with what I'm looking. Okay, can I not search this? Okay. Wow. Look at Elon. You got to do a better job here. 5 U.S. soldiers joined in after seeing the incident, and that police intervened and the attackers had been detained. Crowd chants anti-American soldiers. This is the ally that Jeff Flake is praising as the U.S. embassy in Turkey. Anyway, trying to get more input on this story. It seems interesting. Am I back to my original? Hold on. Will it ever? There we go. RFK Jr. is vowing to put a stop to chemtrails, chemtrail crimes as part of the Trump administration. That would be fantastic. Yeah, so I need an update on this one too. Venezuela plane. Because Elon was saying, well, okay, Kaneko the Great put out this CNN video showing that the U.S. seizes Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro's airplane in the Dominican Republic, per CNN. Elon says, unless the Brazilian government returns the illegally seized property of X and SpaceX, we will seek reciprocal seizure of government assets too. Hope Lula enjoys flying commercial. So what is the update on that? What's the latest? Okay. Explain who owns the plane. It's not registered to the Venezuelan government or anyone in Venezuela. It was also illegally transferred to Venezuela despite it being under sanction. Trying to find more. Seizure of Maduro's plane violates international law. Foreign Minister Ivan Gil Pinto has said the U.S. decision to seize a plane. So I'm not entirely certain what's happening with this plane. U.S. Justice Department stating the plane was purchased without the government consent through a shell company, so they seized it. Venezuela was foolish enough to purchase an aircraft from an enemy state, so you can fault them for that. I don't know if any of that's accurate. I'm just trying to unpack the news here. So keep your eye peeled on that story. This person, Wall Street Apes, put out this video. It says, Aurora, Colorado is the Kamala Harris agenda. You cannot convince me that our government is not involved in the Venezuelan gang situation taking over apartment complexes in Colorado. You're going to tell me that an international gang is taking over people's homes, their apartments with illegal ARs, and the government's not doing anything about it? Law enforcement's not doing anything? National Guard's not doing anything? Like, clearly, our government is letting this happen. Are you guys all ready? We'll never be ready, but are you ready? Yeah, they said it was a figment of your imagination what was happening in Colorado. So there you go. Figment of your imagination. You had some volunteers going to take the city back. That's an interesting video there. This was a guy whose truck was shot up in the middle of the night, just a few miles from the apartment complex that was taken over by a violent Venezuelan gang. Crime in the city has skyrocketed. Look at this. Millions of people unvetted in this nation. Crime out of control. Look at this picture. Shot to hell. That would have definitely killed anybody in there. Here's a mom of Aurora.
So what's going on with this like gang
Colorado
thing? Because like literally I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm a mom. Some of my friends are moms too, and it's gotten so bad to the point we don't even want to take our kids to the park without being in a group.
And that's how it got in Los Angeles as well. America is being governed and driven into the ditch by traitors or the most incompetent group of people you've ever seen. I don't think you can accidentally be this incompetent. This is a planned destruction of America.
And even in a group, we have to make sure that someone has a taser.
Why wouldn't you defend this woman against rampant criminal activity? Who would not pick this woman and her kids as the people you would want to protect instead of illegal aliens, instead of gang members, instead of violent sociopaths?
We have
who doesn't pick the children and the mothers? Of course you pick the children and the mothers. You protect them.
Some type of like pepper spray. We have to have some type of protection.
Sorry, sweetheart. We've been doing that for a long time. Pepper spray alarm too. You need something that a device you hold in your hand, you pull the pin and it shrieks. So then if that happens, you can toss that in the bushes and they can't get it. And it's just going to be screaming bloody murder. And like now you're yelling to the entire area, help, 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 help. Everyone's going to start looking out their windows. That can quickly get someone to go away. Mace is fine. Taser's fine. Taser's right up on somebody though, unless it's you have to shoot it. Mace, it only works a couple feet away. And if you're downwind from it, it could hurt you more than it helps you. But at least pulling the pin on a little keychain and it's just shrieking to the whole community, that could be really helpful.
Me, I don't mess with guns. That's just personally me.
You need to mess with guns because you need to protect your family. I'm sorry. That's what the Democrats have done to you. They've made this place incredibly unsafe, intentionally.
Because guns, they scare me. So
yes, our guns should scare you, and they are scary, but once you learn how to use them, driving would be scary until you took a couple of driving lessons and you got comfortable and you learned what you needed to learn.
It's just like, I don't know. We need to figure out something because, like, I'm not going to lie. This is terrifying. And I understand they're coming here for a better life. But at the same time, is this life getting any better when you're bringing what was there here? I don't know. We need to figure something out because literally me and my son are too scared to even go to a playground. And that's not right.
No, it's not right. That shouldn't be happening in America. We ran a poll asking friends don't let friends vote Democrat. Do you agree or disagree? And we're asking if you are actively pushing back on Democrat friends and family who might actually vote for Harris, trying to get them to. That said flup. That's supposed to say flip to MAGA. Anyway. All right. That's about all I wanted to share with you today. It's been a very newsy news day. Today was very disjointed and out of order. But I think it was in a good way. I really do. I enjoyed today. I kind of like how we handle it. Just there's so much information. Oh, let me take that off the screen. To disseminate to you. So thank you for being a part of today's show. Of course, join the New American Media on our new Rumble account. Go to Rumble and search the New American Media and subscribe to the page, like it, hit notifications on YouTube, the New American Media, and Odyssey, ODYSEE, on X, we're at American_Media_. Download our podcast and sign up for it. On Spotify, we put the videos there. So go to Spotify and find the Agree to Disagree show. The New American Media is on Parler. We have a page on Facebook. You can like that. Also, TNAM. Search TNAM in the groups section. We have TNAM Preparedness, TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Grow Something, TNAM Humor, TNAM Golf, TNAM Wrestling. We have all sorts of TNAM groups, so you can join us there. Instagram, we have Instagram page. Search the New American Media. On Patreon, we do have a Patreon, and that is patreon.com/the New American Media. That's a pretty good one. You could go ahead and link up with us there if you'd like to donate to us on a monthly basis. We definitely appreciate it. $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month. It all helps. It all helps. It all helps. Also, we do have a Venmo at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. That is me. And yeah, 13 years plus of content. Coming up on 1,600 videos. There's been a lot that we have contributed. We are trying to disseminate accurately what's happening. There's a lot to sift through, and we do our best. But I think we could put our batting average up there with just about anybody else's batting average during that same 13-year time frame. I like our chances. I think we have a very strong batting average. I would dare I say Hall of Fame worthy numbers. So if you're not following the New American Media, please do so. We're also on Telegram, TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAM and TNAM Chat. And then on Signal, I think we're TNAM and TNAM Official. So link up with us in all of these places. So in case one of these sites goes down, you'll know how to find us in the other locations. So special thanks to everybody in chat. Mr. GC, thank you so much. Pied Piper Postcards Plus, what up? Seeing you. Ashley, sure. Good having you over here again. We even read your comment today. Frankie Brown, go get your mask and cape out of storage. Tim, what's up? Thank you so much. We appreciate all of your comments. It really makes the show very fun. And we did get to that Ducey thing based on that last minute recommendation. So you helped drive today's news. How cool is that? All right. So on behalf of Blake Wally and everybody out there in the TNAM universe, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Join me tomorrow. We'll be on both of our YouTube pages for our interview with at least 11-time Emmy Award-winning sportscaster John Telich, talking about the Cleveland Browns season, some Cleveland Guardians, maybe some Buckeyes and Cavs, and just catch up. He's been one of our favorite guests over the years. Very excited to talk with him again. I might ask him to tell the World Series trophy story one more time. That sums up why the show is called the Agree to Disagree Show better than anyone has ever done in the history of me talking to people about sports. It walks you through the how. How did so many Cleveland fans become so jaded? And we're diehard, but whew, that story is a barn burner. That's a tough one to stomach, especially being a real fan. Maybe we'll get him talking about that tomorrow. And then, of course, like I said, on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be back with Blake Wally on the Agree to Disagree show. Then we've set at 5 o'clock Eastern time. The Telich interview tomorrow is 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern time. It will be live. I'd love to have you in the chat room asking questions about that. And then Thursday's show with Mike, strictly football, 5 p.m. on Thursday. Maybe we can lasso Blake and bring him into the show as well. Whew. That was a jam-packed 2-hour show, folks. So signing out for now. We'll be back with even more content. Check out yesterday's interview with Bob Franz. My name is Brian Engelman on behalf of the TNAM Radio Universe. Appreciate you. We love you. And we'll talk to you again soon.